Make us want to play the game. Don't make us play the game. I think that's one of the best ways to summarize the new patch that Diablo 4 has released. And instead of me going over the patch notes and just like reading them and giving you my overall thoughts on that one line at a time, I just wanted to do this on a broad stroke scale because I quite honestly have not really felt the need to play Diablo 4 right now. And as you can tell by the slowdown in the content here, I haven't been playing. Obviously a lot of people have already weighed in on the new patch, and I wanted to give my overall thoughts as well. For those of you expecting more regular content on the gaming channel here for Diablo 4, and give you my overall thoughts on where I think the game stands with me personally and where it's going to go from here. So if you enjoy these type of rambling videos here and you want to see more of this kind of stuff, then let me know by clicking the like button and leaving the comment down below. You all know the score by now. And I'm just going to give you my unfiltered thoughts. I think that the new patch is not good. I echo the sentiment of many, many, many other people. And, you know, the gaming community tends to be in more of the negative camp than the positive camp when it comes to really any changes. But I think that this patch is almost universally panned as one of the worst that Diablo has ever seen. Maybe even some people getting a little melodramatic, but people even calling it the worst ARPG patch of all time. And that's debatable, especially those of us who have played PoE. You know that we've seen some doozies, but this one might actually take the cake. So the TLDR, for those of you who don't read patch notes, for those of you who don't keep up with the news or anything like that, basically Blizzard has released the newest patch as of today, and it is dreadful. They have nerfed multiple aspects of the game. They've completely removed sorcerers from the game. They've completely removed barbarians from the game. The Hammer of the Ancients bug, which they're calling it now, with the quaking aspect that allowed us to have boosted damage that radiated out of where the impact zone is, that has been, quote, fixed. And Blizzard's exact quote in the patch notes were, and this was not listed under the barbarian class changes. This was listed under the actual gameplay patch notes for the bug fixes. They said, developers note, we recognize this adjustment as a significant decrease to the Hammers of Ancients barbarian build, but we do not want its strength to be reliant on an underlying bug. And that really summarizes what D4 has kind of become. It's more of the same that we talked about in the last video, and the direction that I have a really big problem with Diablo 4 going is it's this constant theory of just take, and not giving some kind of compensatory measures back to the players, right? Now, again, I'm going to be a little bit biased when I'm talking this purely from a barbarian standpoint. I've not played the other classes in the end game, and I don't plan on it anytime soon. But the sorcerers were hit the hardest. They were nerfed. Bone Spear Necros, they were nerfed as well, unless you had the tip top of the gear in the game possible right now, which is not going to matter when Season 1 starts tomorrow. And it illustrates the problem that I have with D4. It illustrates the problem that I have with Blizzard and overall the design aspects of this game, where they are just constantly nerfing things. It's just nerf after nerf after nerf. They've even gone so far as to nerf the XP gain that you gain. They've killed power. They don't want people power leveling. They've reduced the amount of cooldown reduction that's available. They've reduced the amount of critical strike damage that's available. They've reduced vulnerable damage. They've nerfed hamstring. It's nerfs across the board. And there have been a couple of slight adjustments, but I would say overall, a lot of the adjustments that people were hoping for in terms of shedding light on like maybe the more underutilized or underused skills just was not going to be in the cards. It was something that we all expected and kind of hoped for, but we got basically nothing for it. And that's really, again, the problem that I have with Diablo 4 is this need to, in Blizzard's mind and their design philosophy, this need to make sure that things are happening too quickly. We want to slow player progression down. We don't want them to outperform the game, and that's kind of where the biggest problem of scaling difficulty lies. The player will never ever exceed the amount of power that the game has, and that's a big problem because it always makes the player feel like that the house is always going to win. You know, I think about Path of Exile. I'm coming from an old school ARPG background for those of you who don't know me, and I played Path of Exile for a very long time. And Path of Exile, I wouldn't say is old school, but it's been around for long enough to be considered to be, you know, a staple in the ARPG world. And one of the things that keeps bringing you back to Path of Exile is the idea of the end game for mapping. You know, mapping in PoE is one of the staples. That's basically how you start power curving out your build to get to the next stage, which is to do, you know, Shaper and Elder and Ziri and all that kind of stuff. And you know, we do receive nerfs in that game, not maybe to this degree, like this universal degree that Diablo 4 does, but there is some nerfs to the power creep. It's happened many times before, but the difference here is that in Path of Exile, that is years and years and years and leagues of mechanics and gameplay adjustments, as well as content for the game that's earned the power creep has earned the right to be nerfed a few times over the course of many years. For Diablo 4, this is season 1, and we're already seeing, before it's not even season 1, it's pre-season 1. We're already seeing these huge, massive changes to builds. You know, completely destroying builds, completely destroying any of the unique builds. You know, they nerfed Thorns to the ground in the previous build. A lot of the uniques just got gutted. And then Blizzard, they add more really rare uniques that just, I mean, you might as well just forget what they're even named, because you're never going to see them. And that's the thing that I really don't understand about. I want to just be in the room when they go over these kind of changes and just ask them, so what is the direction that we're going here? What is the plan for this patch? Why are these type of changes necessary in your mind? What is there to be gained from forcing the player to level more slowly? You know, and I haven't even talked about the Helltide nerfs. They've increased the chest of mysteries from 175 cinders to 250. Helltides were already pretty much a slog to begin with, and usually not even really worth doing more than one run for a chest of mysteries, and that's it. Now, I mean, there's no motivation, at least for me anyway, to go do Helltides, and that's why I really want to I want to find out and figure out what is the objective here. What is the end goal game? What is the end game objective for patches like this? If it's to force people to go into the battle pass, they're going to find themselves with a dead game very quickly. And I don't think that that's that outlandish to say. I do feel that there is a little bit of that going on in the patches right now, especially with the season of the Malignant happening. I get that feeling that Blizzard is trying to funnel people into buying the battle pass. And I understand and recognize that some of the balance changes that they've made overall is probably because they want to try to force people, or at least heavily incentivize people, into going after the Malignant Hearts, the new mechanic for Season 1. But going back to what I said at the beginning of this video, make us want to play the game. Don't make us play the game. And I think that that's really where Blizzard is not really getting the feel down for what the community wants. Now, I have seen the rebuttal to a lot of what I've just said on Reddit. I've seen them in YouTube comments and stuff. There are some people out there who say, I don't understand why ARPG players want to make everything face roll. Doesn't destroying an entire screen of monsters get old after a while? How is that fun? It's not about making things easy. It's about making things enjoyable for the majority of players. And based on polls, based on YouTube comments and stuff, there is almost universal panning of this entire patch. And I have seen basically no one on my friends list. I mean, I can go to my friends list right now. Literally, no one is playing right now. Although it is a little bit early in the morning. It's 8:16 in the morning on a Wednesday. But I would normally see 3 or 4 people playing at this time when the game first released. Obviously, numbers are going to fall off, blah blah blah. We're not here to talk about that. It's just that everyone is pretty much saying that I don't see a reason. I'm not motivated to play the game, and I do feel the same way. And which is unfortunate, because I don't want to hurt the channel's growth into stopping Diablo 4 content, but I'm also not going to force myself to push Diablo 4 content out there if I'm not playing the game. And right now, I'm being totally honest with you all. I don't see me playing Season 1 in Diablo 4. This is not some kind of weird narcissistic selfish protest move that, oh, I'm not going to play the game until they unnerf my class. It's not about that. It's about me just not wanting to play the game. I don't see a need to play the same game over again if we're not getting improvements. We're not getting anything done. The only thing that's happening is that they are basically forcing us to level slower. We're dealing less damage, and instead of making the game more challenging by way of league mechanics, by way of maybe increasing mob strength, or maybe getting rid of the scaling difficulty altogether and go for flat static difficulty, instead of doing something like that, they're not buffing the right things, they are nerfing the wrong things. And in this case, what they're doing is they are saying, even at the base stat levels, they've nerfed the effectiveness of core stats, strength, intelligence, dexterity. They've nerfed all of that because they said that it's overperforming, and that alone hurts all the builds. Every single build that hurts in Diablo. So again, I really want to be in the conversation, or just sitting like in the same room and just asking them, what is the objective here? What is the end game goal of this? Because from what I see, you're once again taking a lot of things from players and not giving anything back. And eventually people are just going to get sick of it. And I think that we have, to be brutally honest, I think we have reached that tipping point of players just being fed up with the amount of changes that are seemingly anti-player, they're anti-build diversifying. You know, we don't get to have any kind of experimental stuff anymore, because even more so now, people's survivability and their damage are going to be heavily nerfed. And I don't see having the league mechanic to be the one and only compensation that keeps people playing this game. It's certainly not enough for me to keep playing. And I honestly chuckled and laughed when I saw the patch notes and just read about more barbarian nerfs and them finally killing off Hoda. And what they did to the sorcerer class is it's so bad it's hilarious to me. And I mean, I'm not laughing at I don't mean to laugh at other classes getting nerfed, but hey, my class has been nerfed all over, since day one. There's going to be people who still say, oh, they're all classes are still fine, this is exactly what I want, blah blah. Well, it's not exactly what the majority of the people who used to play this game want anymore. And I've already seen people, they're already talking about Baldur's Gate 3. I personally am really looking forward to Baldur's Gate 3. And this also makes me appreciate Path of Exile more. I'm just going to be honest. So I just wanted to make this video just to give everyone an update. I don't know when I'll start doing more Diablo 4 content again. If things get massively improved, then you can expect me to give everyone updates and stuff. I do still love Diablo. I love the universe, and I still think that Diablo 4 is a good game. It's still, in my opinion, the best Diablo made, but they're really trying hard to undo that opinion. So I really hope, and I know, I have heard that there's going to be a fireside chat because Blizzard has recognized how unpopular this patch is. That's supposed to be happening this Friday. So we'll wait to see what they say about this. I don't expect any level of backtracking. I expect a lot of just completely devoid conversation regarding player balance and game balance and integrity of the entire game and making sure that it's fun for everybody. That's what I'm expecting. What I'm not expecting is any backtracking, and I'm certainly not expecting any sort of explanations coming from Blizzard in regards to why they're doing this thing. So for the people who are still playing the game, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Are you still enjoying it? Are you not enjoying it? Do you think this is completely overblown? Do you think people are making this into too much of a big deal? For those of you who have stopped playing it, why have you stopped playing it? Was this the last straw? Or have you stopped playing a long time ago? Was the grind too bad? Do you think that the grind is only going to get worse? And do you feel like they're kind of forcing people to get the battle pass for the XP gains? I really wish that I could give Blizzard the benefit of the doubt, but that's honestly when we see stuff like them changing the way that XP is gained and them changing the mob levels and the bare minimum mob levels in zones completely to incentivize less XP and less grinding for, you know, they don't want people grouping and power leveling anymore. For doing that, they want to make sure that people are actually actively playing the game. And again, I end this video the same way that I started it. Make us want to play the game. Don't make us play the game. Do not make us play the game. Make us want to play the game. Keep the game fun. Keep the game interesting. Keep the game incentivized for players to come back. What you're doing right now is making it to where, honestly, I don't think I'll be playing Season 1. And I'm not the only one who feels that way. So let me know your comments down below, everyone. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And I look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, as always, I'll see you all next time. Until then, so long, everybody.